10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Monday, Friday, I work 9 to 5.
Hi, and welcome to Dax Chats. For this episode, I'm your host, of course. I'm DJ Dax, and today I'm speaking to someone from the MacArthur area of Sydney. He has been around since 2015. He has been a People's Choice Award finalist. He's been a National Country Songwriters Contest finalist, and he's done a lot of great stuff. His last album was called, I've just got to try and find it here. It was called, there it is. It's here. The Two Sides of Me. Oh, what a top album that was. And it had a great song called The River, which is playing on the Country Thunder Network. He's since been back in the studio, and he's done two brand new singles this year. The first one was called Think Again, and the new one is called Friday Night. Today, Dax chats to Ian Burns, and here he is right now. G'day, buddy.
Hey, how you going, buddy? G'day, everyone. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing good, mate. What an intro.
Oh, well.
I feel all right now. Now I've heard that.
Well, you have had an amazing career, as it says in your bio right here that I've been reading.
Thank you.
People's Choice Awards for Best Male Vocal, and you won the National Country Songwriters Contest in the Alt Blues and Bluegrass section in 2018. That was awesome.
I did, mate. And no one was more shocked than me. I was just blown away. Like you write a song, they come out of your lounge room, and then I torture my family with them to see if they like them, because they're very honest. So they're going to tell me. And, step by step, you take it to the next level, demos, and then end up in the studio. And I was really lucky with that one. It was a song off my last album, Two Sides of Me. Mm-hmm. And mate, I just, it was entered in a songwriting contest. You don't expect it to go any good. And wow, it won the bluegrass and alt section. I just couldn't believe it. I was blown away.
Well, your songs are great. Now, the Two Sides of Me album was quite interesting because it's like a split personality, right?
Yep. Bingo. You just nailed it. And that was exactly what it was like. It was the two sides of me, which was kind of split down the middle of the fun songs, the upbeat songs, and get out and have a good time. And then the more serious stuff. Because, all the songs I write, there's truth to them all. They're all a story, really. And so it was funny as it kind of fell into place. It was kind of two sides of me appearing on one album. And I thought, well, there you go. It's kind of named itself.
Yeah, it has. The River was the single off the album. I don't know that you had any other singles. You just came out with The River. Top song.
Thank you.
It's been on the Country Thunder Network. I think it actually entered the charts for a little bit of time. Awesome song. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much. That was all about having a bit of fun, and that was all about where I grew up, and where I did grow up, we had a river running very near us, and it was funny with me and my friends. It was kind of the cornerstone to so much of our lives from when we were really young, just going down around the bush and pedaling around there and doing a little bit of fishing to as you got older, getting out and water skiing and girlfriends. And it was funny because the common denominator all the time were friends and the river. And so it kind of wrote itself, really, and of course, they're really nice memories. So of course there's that section through it that we see, tell you about, that it's a memory and how fast that goes. But they're great memories, mate. I was very, very lucky in the area I grew up in. Really good.
Yeah. So did you grow up in the MacArthur area, or whereabouts did you grow up?
Just outside, a little place called Milperra, which is on the side of the Georges River. And
I know Milperra very well. I grew up in Bankstown. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know it very well. Well, I was an East Hills Boys High boy. And, so all my mates spread from kind of my area of Milperra right through East Hills up through Picnic Point, which, again, that common denominator is the river running all the way along there. And
I used to, because the Georges River runs through Georges Hall as well, the back of Georges Hall. I used to go down the river there, Picnic Point. I used to be there every weekend almost. It was a great place.
It was fantastic. We had such a good time growing up, and my dad had this little boat that I effectively, stole from him, and it was only about 6 feet long. But it's amazing, particularly in those days where you nearly kill yourself and get away with it. We'd pile into that boat and we'd go along that river for miles, and on the other side was still the bush, because that was the Holsworthy Army camp for as far as you could travel. And so we'd get in the bush and sneak around in the bush like cheeky kids do. We never really got up to anything that was bad, but we thought we were smart, Alex.
Absolutely. I mean, life was so different back then. There wasn't there wasn't the modern technology that we have today. We didn't have computers, we didn't have iPhones and what have you. We didn't have all the distractions in the world today.
100%. You wanted to have fun, mate. You had to get out and make your own fun. You could have been bored as easy as anyone can be bored now. The difference was that we had things we wanted to do, and we got out and we got into it. And look, I'm very lucky because, of course, my son was raised right through computers, PlayStations, everything. But he always had that balance. We're lucky we've got a little bit of space around us, so he was always out playing outside. And just, when he ran out of gas, he'd come in and go on PlayStation. It was just a different area as far as exactly what you said, as far as less distractions. And you'd go, well, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to get outside. Yeah. So
now, talking about getting outside, there's a good segue. We can't get outside right now. Something's taken over the world. So all that we do have is social media right now. How have you been surviving through, the pandemic?
I mean, good, mate. Really. Again, I don't want to be flippant about that because it's had a massive effect on a lot of people's lives. So with respect to that, mate, we've been going all right. We've been really lucky. And with Friday Night, the song we're going to talk about a little bit later, everyone's going to hear about my day job. I've been lucky that my work that I do with horses has been able to continue. So I've still been able to do that. And then music-wise, of course, all gigs really are off. So what I've been lucky to do is we've been working very closely with my band, and we've actually, allowing for social distancing and everything, doing it correctly. We've been able to rehearse plenty. We're working on new music right now because we just can't help ourselves. There's always new music we want to work on. And we're actually doing demos and that now, and planning to start recording for a new album pretty soon. And we actually hope to have some stuff ready by the end of the year, very early next year.
Cool. That's great. Now, let's talk about the first single that came out. You came out with a pretty serious song called Think Again. Tell us, walk us through that track.
That track, funny enough, I wrote that so everyone would know that, Australia's been through some tough times, even pre-COVID. And, that drought, that wretched drought on the East Coast had been going along for years. And I wrote the song around that time. And look, the drought was in my mind my wife had been pretty unwell, and she's going great now, so nobody has to worry. She's going fantastic. But it just reminded, us and me of Australia with how resilient Australians are, and how they never give up. And my wife's a good example of that, mate. On her sickest day, really, you wouldn't have known it. She just kept battling on. Yep. And I thought this is really indicative of how Australia is. And of course, I started to write that song, and then I went down to a writer's workshop with Carter and a friend of mine, Mary Harrison. And the song took on a slightly broader appeal, as far as, of course, we went straight from the drought straight into those wretched bushfires. Which destroyed, again, much of the East Coast, the worst bushfires in Australia's history. And then, of course, we jumped straight into COVID. And so it was funny how a song that started at such a personal point became more of how tough Australians are, and how people we don't give up. And so Think Again is all about that never giving up. When you think you've got to be beaten, basically think again. And then I was really lucky, because a buddy of mine that played on that song, a guy called Duncan Toombs, he's a phenomenal guitarist, but he's also a great videographer. And a lot of people would know his videos. For a lot of people, some early Lee Kernagans. He does a lot for Troy Cassadaly. And because he played on the song, he really wanted to do the video for me. And wow, he just did an amazing job, and just blew me away with his thoughts and how he wanted to build that video. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out. Ian Burns Music. The song's Think Again, and Dunk did a fantastic job, mate. I was blown away.
He absolutely did. I have watched the video clip, and it is very beautiful. It's a great track. And
thank you very much.
You forgot something in the succession, but what happened? We had, obviously, the drought has been affected Australia for God knows how many years now.
Unbelievable.
And then of course we had the bushfires in sort of between September and February of last year. That was the worst bushfires that you could possibly think of. As you said, the worst bushfires in Australia's history.
Yeah.
But then after that, there was flooding.
Of course, yes.
Yes, there was huge flooding straight after the bushfires. Huge flooding. I'm like, what the hell?
Yes, it's almost like, I'll bring it on, for goodness sake.
Just give us everything you've got,
Well, I think too many people said that, because now we've got an asteroid.
Well, let's now we've got COVID, and this asteroid is not going to affect us. I've done my research about the asteroid. It is not big enough to actually do any damage if it enters the Earth's atmosphere, and it is going to enter the Earth. And if it does enter the Earth's atmosphere, it's going to enter on the American election day. How's that? So if it lands somewhere in Washington, or DC, we're not going to be too worried, right?
Trump Tower.
Trump Tower.
Bruce
in New York.
Willis will fix it anyway. Bruce Willis will get up there.
Armageddon. I love it. But yeah, the world's going through some amazing times right now. Everything's changed. But what I find with this COVID thing is that it's kept the human species inside quite a lot now, but that's allowed nature to start resetting itself. And I think that's why a lot of what you see happening now, like with the floods and the extreme weather conditions, like we had here after everything sort of calmed down with the COVID stuff. We had this huge long period of like monsoonal weather, and it was like my roof was starting to collapse because the weight of the water and stuff like that. I was like, oh my God. But what's what's been amazing through all of it is, smelling the fresh air again. And
Yeah.
there's no planes flying in the skies. There's no factories operating. There's no this, there's no that. And the trees are green again and the sky is
Yeah.
blue again. And the rain smells beautiful. I mean, like, that has been wonderful.
Incredible. Yes. Isn't it amazing how fast the world can actually reset itself without us bombarding it with what we do every day? It actually resets pretty quickly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think governments really should start looking at how do we
Absolutely.
come back from this without doing more damage than what we're doing already.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we've done enough, mate, haven't we? Like, really, I think this should have been, and I hope it is, a real big wake up call to many people in this world about, what we're doing and what we need to do to fix a few things, because, mate, we're pushing it to its limit, and there's only so much pushing you can do before, double hurricanes off southern southern US and things like that.
I think the world's finally telling us, settle down.
Yeah. It's got us by the lapels.
So how have you been able to keep connected with your fan base, with your audience through all of this? Because that's something that's been quite difficult for some. Some people have, had trouble with the live space. As I say, these interviews don't go live because everybody's in the live space. So we pre-record them and then we just air them as a premiere at a later date. Because I just felt like everybody was in the live space and it's being over how would you say, over diluted, like everybody's there. And I'm just like,
yeah.
So how have you been?
We've done a few.
How have you been? Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, we've done a few things, but same. We thought, well, let's not bombard everybody, because we chatted about initially. Did we want to get on and do something live weekly? Did we want to get on and do something live? How would we do that? We want to do a quest thing. And then what we actually did and have been doing was we did a couple of really good things. I was able to do a couple of basically songwriter in the rounds with a few buddies. So I did one out of Shelter Studios in Katoomba end of June, early July. Did a 40-minute set, just acoustic, and really enjoyed that. And that led us into what would have been the Hats Off Festival at Tamworth. And I'm a member of the Tamworth Songwriters Association, and quite a few of my buddies are. And what we would normally do is do the songwriter in the rounds at a live venue at Tamworth. And so the Tamworth Songwriters Association contacted us. And so in the end, myself and a fellow called Ben Ransom and the boys from Simply Bush, they're great guys, mate. We had such a fun time. And what we wanted to do, and funny enough, you just touched on it before, we didn't air it live. We actually recorded it live so it was real. And we did the normal thing we would do in a songwriter in the round situation if we were playing live to an audience, and that was we absolutely bagged each other out.
Sure.
And had a good time, and we left it all in because it was genuine banter between us, because we're all friends. And we talked about our songs and we played our songs in this acoustic situation, mate, and we had a fantastic time. That I believe is still on the Hats Off Festival site. We had a great time doing that. And then since then, we've been doing demos with the band and just touching base with the fans through letting them jump in with us and looking at some of our sessions, just little sections of our sessions of us putting songs together. And then, of course, it was the release of Think Again. So the video came out. So that was fantastic. And now working with Friday Night, and that video is just about to be released. So it's just ticking along really nicely. Yeah.
Good. So obviously we keep coming back to this the new single, which is Friday Night, and it does talk about your story. It's basically who you are as a person and what you do. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us about the story.
Thank you. Well, mate, I always joke that it's internationally recognised that I am the luckiest person in the world. So, so what I do, I'm very lucky that during the week I work with horses all week, and I have a fantastic time. You know, my office is people's property, so I go to racing stables and performance horse stables and work with their horses with injury repair. So I get to go out to places all day, every day, working there. And then there was that whole aspect of the song. And then the second aspect of the song is, you know, in normal non-COVID situations, come Friday night, you know, we hit the road with the band and exactly. And it's fantastic. And look, I'm super lucky that I love my job as well as I get to do the music. But, you know, that fantastic feeling of, yeehaw, it's Friday. You know, let's get the gear in the car and let's get out of here. It is that feeling that I just miss so much, and we have such a good time. So hence the song is really telling that story.
You know, that's a really funny comparison to my life a couple of years back. It was about, I think, between 19, probably more 2000, 2003. So between 2000 and 2003, I lived up in Queensland on a property in Logan Village, and we used to buy and sell horses. So what we used to do is we had a property out there. We would buy them from the racetrack. You know, mostly standard breds. We would buy these standard breds. We would retrain them to walk, trot, and canter, and then we'd sell them on to riding schools because they're the most placid horses around, right?
Placid. Yeah, they're fantastic.
They're absolutely brilliant horses, you know. And so I was doing that for a couple of years, and on Friday night, that's exactly what we do. We'd pack the van up and we'd go on tour. Friday night we'd have a gig. Saturday night we'd have a gig somewhere else. Sunday afternoon we'd have a Sunday session, and then we'd come back and work with the horses all week.
Mate, we've got parallel lives because that's exactly it. Yeah, that's fantastic. And you would have loved working with the horses during the week, but I tell you what, there's nothing like the feeling of chucking the gear in the car and hitting the road.
That's right. I mean, I can remember just about the run I used to love was doing the out past Toowoomba. You'd go to Dalby or Chinchilla or Roma. You know, like that was my run. I used to love it. And then we also do King of Roy and Blackbutt.
Fantastic.
You know, it was so brilliant.
Good. Absolutely. I've been looking with envy at my Queensland friends at the moment, putting up their gig guides and just going,
absolutely.
That would be so good.
But I tell you what I really don't understand about music these days is that back then when I was doing that, I was getting between, depending on how far I would travel, I was getting between $450 to $650 a gig as a duo, just two people with backing, with all the backing and stuff like that. You can't get that these days. It's just it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's like every other industry, the price goes up and, you know, wages go up and stuff like that. But the music industry, everything gets squashed down. No, we can't afford that now. We can only give you 150 a gig, you know, like what's that?
So true, mate. So true. And I don't know what it is about, as you said, the music industry or arts altogether, because it is such an integral part and such an important part of so many people's lives. And, you know, we touched on before about mental health during this time, and music's playing a vital role there at the moment. And, mate, I don't understand, but you nailed it. Yes, if anything, the incomes via music have gone down and down and down. And then, of course, you know, via not bagging on, Spotify or anything like that, but even the potential to earn money through music sales has massively dropped. So then you need to play more live to keep the scoreboard ticking over because, and I will explain to everyone out there, it's not about money. None of us do it about the money. No. What it is about earning enough money to reinvest back into making new music. And I guarantee every cent that I ever make out of my music goes straight back into music. It doesn't go anywhere else. And it's tight, mate, because as you said, everything else as far as income through music has gone down. Yeah, big time.
Yep, absolutely. And you just touched on the streaming thing, and streaming is great. Streaming is great for young people, and I get that. No, like if that's the way you want to go about, listening to your music, go for it. But the problem is the CEO of Spotify is making $4.something billion out of everybody else's money. And I said to somebody else the other day, Ronnie Giordo, I spoke to him a week or so ago, and he was because I posted something about Spotify, because the CEO turned around and said, musicians need to work harder, create more, and stop complaining about how much they receive from Spotify. And I was like, well, that's just ridiculous. I've looked at my bank account and I've got songs on Spotify. I've looked at my account and I have never drawn from that $20.
Yeah,
$20.
Exactly. Yep.
It's like, and my songs have been up there for 2 years, 4 years, whichever songs they are.
Absolutely.
I'm not making money out of Spotify. I said so. I put a post up on my personal page, and I said, you have to, even if one of your songs gets 10 million streams per year, you are living under the poverty line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was one of the old rockers, a guy called Peter Frampton, and to a lot of the viewers out there, I am talking a long time ago. But at one point, Peter Frampton had a fantastic album called Peter Frampton Live, and it was the largest selling live album at that point in history. And he actually got up in front of Congress only a little while ago and explained, and of course, Congress is often older people. So they all knew this guy. He was some kind of musical hero to them, and they applauded. And he said, I'm here to talk about streaming. And he was trying to get them to be aware of the results to a musician from streaming. Now, again, I don't want to bag out streaming, because streaming to a degree could introduce my music or my friend's music to people who have never heard of us before. So there is that one good advantage with it, that it can introduce people to you. But Peter Frampton was saying, he talked about how many units he had sold, and they were expecting this massive figure. And I don't want to tell you a furphy, mate, but it was something like he earned $1,700 a year from Spotify, and they were mortified because they just didn't understand that. But with the model and the way it's set up at the moment, there's no changing it at the moment. It's just it's got its pros, it's got its cons, and we just need to work out how to adapt with the times, I guess, is the way to go.
I guess that's why Garth Brooks doesn't have any songs on Spotify, because he just doesn't believe in the return that he can get from it.
Yep. He's made a bit of a stand on that, and I absolutely respect that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask, what's coming for you? Are you looking towards Tamworth? I mean, there's a lot of people that say it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Obviously artists in Victoria and, that have booked their gigs in Tamworth are not sure whether they can get across the border for it to actually happen. They don't know when the borders are going to reopen. What's happening for you? What are you looking towards?
I'm trying to be a scout, dib, and be prepared. So we're going full guns blazing, my friend. We are actually we're going to have a busy end of this year, which I love. I love being busy. So
Yep.
that worked for us. So, yeah, new material
Yep.
that we're actively writing, demoing, and then we'll start recording by the end of the year. And absolutely aiming for Tamworth. We've been chatting with our contacts in Tamworth, actively trying to lock a few things in as if Tamworth is on. And then, you know what, for whatever reason, and because as you know, everything changes almost daily at the moment. Yeah.
Yep,
So we're
absolutely.
thinking on, and so we're planning as if it is absolutely on and getting prepared for that. And actually, we're pretty excited about that. And then, okay, if that changes and that doesn't work, well, so be it. But yeah, we're definitely planning as an on.
I think if 2021 actually works, it's going to be double the party because everybody's going to have to make up for the lost 2020.
Yeah. And we do too, mate. Like, we have such a good time because we're busy up there because, we're doing our own stuff and we're getting to, do some interviews and we're jumping up on stage and doing everything from full sets to 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, opening for other buddies because, of course, we get up there and it's chock-a-block full of our friends who make music. So we do our thing, but we're out all the time watching our buddies play. So, mate,
Correct.
it's a good time.
It is. And I must admit, I have never actually been to the Tamworth Country Music Festival, which is a real shame. But I mean, I guess for the last 11 years, I have lived in China. So
yes,
it's been a bit
it
hard.
is hard.
It's been a bit hard to get there.
Yes, that there is that tyranny of distance, mate. It's number one. I'd say can't wait to see you there because it will happen, and you will know almost every second person walking around that place with your Dax Chat.
I know. Well, see, I've been in the industry for a long time, but I've just been down there in the industry. Like I know a lot of people, and like I remember when in 2019 when I came to Australia. I went to a studio and recorded my single then, and I put it out there for the world to see, and
right
nowhere. But I've been doing it for quite a long time. But most of it's been self-produced here, and I've like had to, and that's been hard because I haven't been able to go out and do gigs, and I haven't been able to go out and do all that. So I call myself a recording artist because I'm not a actually performing artist, and now I've become a recreational artist. I'll just do it when I feel like it now.
Hey, there's something really cool about that, though, isn't there? That's got that Jack Johnson vibe. I think I'll have a surf and then I might make some music, but I'll see how I go.
I'm going to run a radio station, but I might just make some music and see what happens.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. It's funny though, I reckon, and you live there, so it's all well and good that I reckon this. You actually live there. I just think that China would be an amazing potential market for Australian country music because
you are correct. You are correct, and it is, and that's half the reason why I've set this up here. I do hope that I can push it more. We are getting a lot of listeners from China, which is fantastic, and I think that, and I think that's going to open the market up here. And if we can become successful and start making money out of this, if we can monetize the radio station, what the next step is to start bringing festival, an Asian country music festival right here in China.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I reckon that would absolutely go off because there's a real link between Australia and China anyway. And a friend of mine, it's funny. It's purely been torpedoed through COVID, but yeah, I was getting more. One of my friend deals with a lot of Chinese businessmen, and we were actually getting together this farm experience for all the businessmen that were coming over, because they just love, and I'm categorizing, saying they all. I don't mean that, but so many Chinese love how different Australia is as far as our countryside, and just getting out in the bush and having a campfire and playing a bit of music. And so we were organizing stuff like that when COVID, temporarily has torpedoed it. But every person, she was giving a lot of people my music, and there was a real link to that music through the experiences we have in Australia, and how different that is to a normal life experience in China.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what I'm looking towards.
Fantastic.
Either if I stay in China or if I move back to Australia, we're going to try and keep it running in Australia. But obviously,
great.
we need to monetize it somehow. So that's the next step. Is after this COVID stuff all settles down, then we start thinking about how do we get advertisers on board, how do we get sponsors on board and stuff like that. And then once we start making money for the Country Thunder Network, then we can start looking at what's the next step, what's the next plan, and that those festivals will be something we'll be looking at.
I reckon that sounds brilliant, mate. Count me in.
Yeah, you'll be the first one I call now.
Yeah, I'll be there. Because my band and I have already had this chat, and they are 100% in.
Cool.
Yeah, they're really keen. Yeah, I would love that. We would love that. That'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, I will try and work out once we can all fly across the world again. We will certainly look at how we can work something out, even if it's just your band coming out to do a tour in China, and we'll try and work something out.
We'd be there, man. I'd love that, and I know for a fact they would. We've already talked about it.
No worries. Well, Ian, it's been fantastic talking to you for the first time. I loved it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we will do it again when your next single arrives, or
Thank you.
Something coming up. We will certainly talk again.
Thank you so much. It's been absolutely fantastic having a chat with you. Have a fantastic. Is it day, night in China? Night.
It's afternoon here. It's 3:22 right now.
Beautiful. Well, you have a wonderful afternoon in China.
No worries. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. See you later, everybody. Just jump on Ian Burns Music and you'll find anything you want to see.
No worries, man. All right, that was Ian Burns, and as he just said, you can jump onto his website, ianburnsmusic.com, and you'll find out everything you want to see there. He is on Spotify, he's on Apple Music, all of those streaming platforms. His brand new track is called Friday Night, and it is also playing on the Country Thunder Network, so you can go to our website, which is right there, countrythunder.com.au, or you can follow the smart URL links on our Facebook page, and you can request his songs from our player directly, or you can vote for them in the Country Thunder 20. Until next time, this is DJ Dax for Dax Chats, which is proudly supported by Neon Horse in Stanhope, Victoria. See you next time.